How will Pulsar shape the future of US helium reserves?
What we're trying to do with Pulsar, particularly Topaz project in Minnesota, is get a new discovery that we've made there, high concentration helium, and then see if we can realize its potential for production. So at the moment with the US helium reserves, certainly production in the USA has been decreasing with helium, whilst foreign sources have been increasing. So what we're really looking to achieve is a contribution to US domestic supply, and then to alleviate the potential for the USA to become reliant on foreign sources of helium. And that's for a few reasons. One is geopolitics, so it's always better to have something close to home. But then also helium really doesn't like to be transported great distances either. It is quite a small atomic size and therefore likes to leak. And then last year, the US Federal Helium Reserve, which is the large standalone helium storage facility in the USA, has been privatized as well. So that's created quite a lot of uncertainty, even more so about US supply. So really, Pulsar, what we're all about is to reach our objectives, and that is to bring some stability to the US domestic supply of helium.
Okay, what can we expect from Pulsar's Topaz project in the years ahead?
So in 2024, we got to a great start. So we went and we drilled, and we found that there's high concentration helium. Concentration is important because with all of these helium occurrences naturally in the ground, you never get a pure helium gas. You get the helium mixed with other gases. So therefore, concentration is important. The higher the concentration, then the less gas that would need to be processed in a production facility, and that has a lot positive knock-on effect. So we've got a very high concentration there. We drilled and got up to 14.5% helium. And so what we're doing now is we're building on that success. So right now we've actually got a drill rig out there to go and re-enter that well that we drilled last year, and to then push it down deeper. The objective there is to test the full height of the reservoir. So it certainly appears that with what we've conducted to date, we've only just tagged the top of the reservoir. And so now it's to go through the full sequence. We're then looking to do a step out well. And so that is where we drill a second well nearby to jet stream number 1. And that's really going to tell us a lot about the reservoir characteristics. So you can appreciate that this is the first time this reservoir is being drilled. And so then to be able to have 2 wells close by to each other, and then to see how well do they talk to one another in terms of gas migration between the two. So what are we looking at? So the porosity, the permeability of the rocks. That will give us a huge amount of data when it comes to our resource modeling, and modeling for production scenarios as well. And then what we're looking to then do is we recently announced an agreement with a group called Chart Industries. Now they are more or less the world's foremost engineering and fabrication company for industrial gas plants, so including helium and indeed CO2, which is another commodity we were looking to monetize. And so the data that we obtain, we will then be feeding that across to Chart. And then they'll be looking at different scenarios for potential production. And in the meantime, we would then be looking to increase our footprint. So that would be additional drilling further afield from where the 2 first wells are, and then really grow the size of the resource as well. So the intention there is to find something which could sustain multiple years of production. As a company, we're not looking to find something small. We're looking to find something substantial, and we certainly believe that the Topaz project has the potential for that. So I really anticipate that in the short, medium, and potentially longer term, there's going to be quite substantial news flow coming from Pulsar.
How will Pulsar ensure a steady, secure helium supply for the US?
The style of deposit that we have in Topaz is quite different to a lot of the typical production at the moment. So most of the world's helium on a global basis is produced as a byproduct of natural gas. Where Pulsar is at the forefront is looking at reservoirs in the ground, naturally occurring reservoirs of gas, where helium is the primary economic driver, not natural gas. So the natural gas is there in trace quantities, whereas the helium is really the key one there. Should we get into that production stage, then the rate of production would be what the market requires for any given moment in time, potentially. So, whereas you can't do that if helium is a byproduct, as it currently is. So, helium is difficult to store. So, you typically don't see, helium containers on surface waiting to be utilized. Once again, going back to what I said earlier about that small atomic size, Whereas for a primary helium occurrence, the storage facility is actually the reservoir itself, the reservoir in the ground. So for us, we're very fortunate. We've got an impermeable rock unit on top of the reservoir, so we're not seeing any leakage of helium to surface. Having a high concentration primary helium occurrence, should we get that into production, then it would be somewhat akin to, say, the Federal Helium Reserve, which is in itself a standalone helium reserve, and that brought stability to US supply. Yeah, it is a bit like a flywheel in the system. It's able to produce the helium that's required at that given moment in time. And really, we hope and aspire that the Topaz project in Minnesota could be something quite similar to that, which would really give a very nice option to US helium supply in something which is geared more towards helium than it is to natural gas as it currently stands.